everybody. A real chemist knows how to name compounds. A real chemist doesn't continue to say, where's the NaCl? The real chemist says, where's the sodium chloride? A real chemist doesn't always have to say CO2. A real chemist knows that that formula is called carbon dioxide. So your job is to become more fluent and more confident in naming. So let's review a little bit. The world of chemical naming, as far as you guys know it, is divided up into two categories, ionic and covalent. And we've talked at quite length about the fact that if it's a metal and a nonmetal, it gets named differently than if it's a nonmetal plus a nonmetal, ionic versus covalent. So keeping those two straight is paramount to being successful at this. So you know the little staircase that we talked about a long time ago divides the metals from the nonmetals. So anytime there's a metal, you name it without prefixes, everybody. No prefixes. No. All right, so I had my color picked and it went away. No. No. No prefixes. No. Okay, so we did some examples, easy examples. CaCl2. I'm waiting for you out there in video land to be saying that while I'm writing it. Calcium chloride. Almost all compounds that look like this end in "ide." Al2S3. That's a 3. You're thinking this while I'm writing it. Yes, everybody? Good. Aluminum sulfide. Okay, we've reviewed that enough. You guys are good with that. If it's a nonmetal and a nonmetal, then life changes. Okay? My name is, American names are said differently than French names, that are said differently than Arabic names, that are said differently than German names. So everything, there's all sorts of different ways to name all sorts of different things throughout the world. So the same holds true for chemistry. And I don't know if that was a good analogy or not, but there you go. You are very familiar with this. CO2. Not a very good 2. 2. So you know that that is from biology and just living life, hopefully. And Miss Andrews is never going to be able to draw very good on this. It's hopeless for me. Carbon dioxide. P2O5. If the first element has more than one atom, you have to indicate that. So I can't say I would not say phosphorus pentaoxide. I would have to say diphosphorus. Diphosphorus pentaoxide, or you could say pentaoxide if you want. Can you hardly believe what horrible writing that is? I'm sorry, guys. It's just, I can't. Maybe if I alter this a little bit. It's something to work on this summer, I guess. Okay. Okay. PCl5. Phosphorus pentachloride. However, so I'm going to just do phos. It's supposed to be a dot. Phos. Maybe if I try. just printing. That's a little better. It's really bad. Oh well. Now, something a little bit different. CO. I don't say carbon oxide. So here's the tricky part. If the first element has only one atom, I don't have to say monocarbon. I can just say carbon. But if the second atom has only one element, then I have to indicate that with the prefix. Notice up here it's carbon dioxide. Down here it has to be, yes, I know you're thinking it out there, carbon monoxide. Okay? N2O. The familiar, this is nitrous oxide, laughing gas, but if we were going to name it formally, it would be dinitrogen monoxide. Okay? That's really all you need to know about naming covalent compounds. And then knowing the prefixes, let's just review the prefixes here. Mono, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona, deca. Okay? Let's come over here to the last part. There are such things called polyatomic or compound ions. Up here, everybody, Cl is one atom. And it's an ion actually in this compound. But it's only one, it's just chlorine. There's two of them, but they're both chlorines. It isn't two different types of atoms. In this compound, it's only sulfur. It isn't sulfur and another atom. These polyatomic or compound ions have more than one atom bonded together, and they're different, to form an ion. For example, if I just write the negative half of bromine, okay, now bromine, I can't go to the shelf and get bromide ions, but on a document like this, I can say this is what bromide looks like, yeah? If I want to be even more, yeah, here's bromine with its 8 outer shell electrons, okay? So that's called a monoatomic ion because there's only one of them. Contrast that, everybody, with the idea of NO3 minus 1. I do minus 1 or 1 minus, it doesn't matter. This actually means that nitrogen and 3 oxygens are bonded together, but there's an extra electron which gives it a negative charge. This isn't called nitrogen trioxide, okay? That would be over here without a charge. So if it has a charge, we know that a charged particle is an ion. So it has a name which you basically have to memorize, and I'm not going to make you memorize it at this point, but at some point you're going to have to memorize it if you continue your studies in chemistry. This is called the nitrate ion. If I put this with a positive ion, for example, they used nitrates. They used to use nitrates a lot in meat as meat preservatives. Actually nitrites and sulfites, but this is nitrate. NaNO3. It isn't sodium nitrogen trioxide. This is a compound ion which has a -1 charge. Sodium has a +1 charge, so we know that the charges in an ionic compound have to add up to 0. So this is named sodium. Since the ion is nitrate, we name it sodium nitrate. It's that simple. It's not simple if you don't know the names of these things. So let's try another example. There's a list of these that I want you to be familiar with. You will not have to memorize them. So let's try this one. There's many, many, many polyatomic ions. Now I can choose to write it 2 minus or minus 2. I don't care. This is called sulfate. This is the sulfate ion. I can't go to the chemical shelf and get sulfate ions. The sulfate ions come with the positive ion. But I can go and I can get aluminum. Well, let me think of something easier. Let's say potassium sulfate. So potassium, but remember potassium is a +1 ion. Yeah, I'm going to just put the +1 here. And sulfate's a -2. So that means I need 2 of these. So what do we call this? As we named up here, no prefixes ever with a metal, potassium sulfate. Okay? That's how you name those. Another one that's very popular, and then I'll give you a list in class. This is called hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is Drano. Some of you may not know that. Drano is what takes care of clogged sinks. Let's say I wanted to give the structure of calcium hydroxide. Okay, so calcium is in group 2, so we know that calcium has a +2. But OH, the whole shebang, has a -1. That means I have to have 2 of these. Now, if I just put a 2 here, that 2 only refers to the H. Therefore, I must always put polyatomic ions in parentheses if I'm going to take if I need more than one of them. And ultimately, this is called calcium hydroxide. So it's the name of the metal and then hydroxide. Okay, we're going to talk about this a little bit on Monday with these polyatomic ions, but that's all for now. Okay, bye.